Welcome to Jim Bob's Garden.
Welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. Today what we're going to do is we're going to harvest some pigeon peas. Now pigeon pea is a very common used food source. It's a very nice plant to have in your garden. Does a couple things for you. One, it produces peas, which are great to eat. It also fixes nitrogen in your soil. They grow very, very rapidly, and it's just a nice plant to have around. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of these pigeon peas, cut them back a little bit, do some pruning. One of the nice things about pruning pigeon peas is that that's a lot of what releases the nitrogen back into the soil. This is something I have never grown before. From what I understand, it will grow here. As you can see, this one is a tree that we planted this year, and it's grown about, 7 foot tall, and produced a ton of peas. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, harvest these, cut it back a little bit, do a little bit of pruning, and that pruning process is what creates, or what causes it to release that nitrogen back into the soil. All right, now let me get you a quick close-up here. All right, so what we got, like I said, this is the pigeon pea tree, and you can see that you've got little yellow flowers which develop into the pods themselves. All right, and once again, this is a plant we planted, it was in the spring, from seed, grew it in a pot first and then put it in the ground. Now I do want to show you this. If you look at this tree, it's pretty good sized. It's about, like I said, about 7 foot tall, maybe 8, good sized plant. But if we come over here, at the same time we planted that one. That one grew maybe 3 foot tall. And then over here, there's a third tree that we also grew, and it grew to about 5 foot tall. Now, I will say that this soil over here is very sandy and very dry. If you look down, you can see that not a lot wants to grow here. I do have a mole problem. But very sandy soil here, didn't seem to do as well. Now over here, the soil is a little better. You can see my apple tree here is growing well. But I don't know that there's a substantial difference between the soil here and the soil from the big tree over there. So I don't really know why one grew better than the other. But we're going to keep trying. Like I said, I grew them from seed. I've got a couple more already planted in pots. So we're going to see how it all works out. So we're going to go about doing our harvest. All right, so what we're going to do, like I said, is harvest all these peas. Now, one of the things I did say, and I'll say it again, is that when you cut these back, that's what helps it to release nitrogen in the soil from everything that I've read, which is really the biggest purpose that I had these trees for, was to hopefully improve the soil by releasing nitrogen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back several of these, but I'm trying to save the buds. As you can see, I've got some buds here. So I'm trying to save those, but any of the sticks that have got no buds but just have got peas on them, I'm going to go ahead and cut them back a bit. Yeah, come on. I'm also going to take this opportunity to prune these back. Like I've got some low branches down here that I'm going to go ahead and snip off. Everything I understand is that this also makes an excellent mulch rather. Not a living mulch, but a good mulch product. So just cut the branch back, cut these off, save the peas. And I'm kind of playing with this, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. But from everything I can tell online, this is kind of the way to go about doing it. So we'll chop this up, let it sit here and rot down as a living mulch. Yes, leaves. Also, being up here in Jacksonville area, I don't know if these will actually grow through the winter or not, but I'm hoping that they will. The other benefit of this is I'm hoping if they continue to grow as fast as they have, that we will end up with a nice big tree that I can actually use as either a trellis or just to shade out sun for some of the other plants in the wintertime. Now I'm going to put these, I'm going to go ahead and cut these up and put them around my apple tree over here. Alright, so back to actually cutting. Now if you got one of these trees, from everything I understand, don't be shy about cutting it back, because they do grow pretty prolifically. Though apparently they're only good for about 5 years. They said the first couple years is when they produce the most peas, and then it slowly declines to the point where after about 5 years the production is either completely gone or very minimal. Which again, this is something we're going to experiment with. This is the first year with them, and we'll see how it goes from there. They are also a very prolific seeder apparently. As you can see, a seed just fell. Or was that a bug? That was actually a bug. So what can happen is you'll see a lot of them growing up around the original tree, which is not bad. You just cut them back, and once again it becomes a mulch. Which will obviously improve the soil. Keep in mind that is the primary reason that I did this, was soil improvement. I read this on several websites. Also talking to the guy from Eat Your Yard Jacks. He really likes them. So we're going to see how it all goes. Either way, I've got a ton of pods here. If all these peas are good, I should have some very substantial pigeon peas. Now, I probably should have done this earlier. We'll see. I think we're all right. Another thing that people talk about is the flowers are supposed to be a good bee attractor. But I gotta admit, I have not seen a lot of bees around these. Now, I don't know if that's just because I wasn't very observant, or if it's because they just don't draw a lot of bees. But again, that was not the primary purpose or the primary reason that I put these in. It's really originally just to get the benefits of the nitrogen added to the soil. So there you go. Got most of them off. Got it cut down to about my height or so. Now you can see, if you look closely, there's a lot of new growth in here. But now we haven't had a really good hard freeze yet. Again, I'm up here around northern Jacksonville, so we do get some freezes, and I don't know, it might kill it off. If it does, that's fine. I got a ton of seed, and I'll just start over again next year. Matter of fact, part of what I'm going to do with these seeds here is I'm going to go ahead and replant a few. I do have 3 more growing in pots right now, and I'll get a few more going. Worst comes to worst, I chop it down, grind it up with my wood chipper, and we'll call it a day. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and separate these, and I'll show you what just this one tree brought me.